Hi everyone. So today we are making moose stuffed peppers on the wood stove. This is a really simple recipe to do. It does yield a lot, so if you don't want a whole bunch of leftovers, just cut the recipe in half. The reason that I do such a big recipe is because all my ground moose meat is in 2-pound packages. So you just cut everything in half. If you don't want any leftovers and you just want to stuff, say, about 6 to 8 peppers. As we're going along, you'll notice that I do use quite a few things that I make myself, like stock and my own black beans from the garden and canned tomatoes that I've done down and things like that. But don't worry, if you don't have those, if you don't do those things, just use what you have in your pantry, what you normally use, and just substitute it for whatever you have. It's, with any recipe, you don't have to follow it to a T. I just try to do easy homemade recipes that anyone can do at home. Don't worry about it if you don't have the exact ingredients. It's all going to turn out just as well anyways, right? Life's too short to be too fussy and thinking, oh my goodness, I can't do that. I'm not a chef. I'm far from a chef. I just do country cooking. Uh, and, you know, that's all we need in life. We don't need everything perfect, but these do, I must say, these do taste very, very good. So I hope you like the recipe and enjoy it, and I'll turn the camera around here and we'll get cooking. Okay, so we're using black beans for a recipe here. And I'm just going to show you because I grew some in my garden and some of them grew really good. Then there was another roll that didn't grow as good because I didn't go out and thin out the roll. So it was my own fault. They didn't grow very good. But you can see how tiny those ones are compared to the regular size ones. So today we are using up some of these tiny ones that I got here. There was no sense wasting them, right? Even though they're very, very tiny. But it doesn't matter which ones you use because you probably won't have the tiny ones anyways. Last night, I put a cup of them in water and let them soak on the counter overnight, and they have swollen up pretty good to almost normal size, not quite. So right now, I'm going to drain them off and then put them in some water and simmer them on the stove until they are cooked. Okay, so I got them here, and it looks like I did mix a couple other beans in them with them. This one here, that looks like a scarlet runner bean to me. And there's a few other ones here that might not be quite ripe, and I'm not sure what that one definitely wasn't ripe in there. That's okay. We're going to use them. So I'll just fill this up with water and let it simmer on the wood stove. And then probably in about 20 minutes to half an hour, because they're so small, they should be done cooking. Okay, so for cooking the rice, what I'm going to do, I have some of my beef stock here that I made up and froze in the ice cubes. I'm going to use a bit of it just to give a nice flavor to our rice. So I have a 2-cup measuring cup here. I'm filling it up with the stock ice cubes, and then I will add water. So then I added water up to the 2-cup mark. And I'm just going to put this on the stove, bring it up to a boil, and then add a cup of rice to it, and then put on the lid for 20 minutes until the rice cooks. So our rice broth has come to a boil. And all we're going to do now, let me see, it's boiling there. All we're doing now is adding 1 cup of rice to it. Give it a quick stir. And we just want it to simmer. We don't want it to be rapidly boiling like that, so we'll just leave it over to the side here now. And we have our beans back here that are just coming up to a slight simmer, and we'll just leave them back here too. Okay, so our rice is done now. It's cooked up beautiful. Now I'm just going to fluff it with a fork, put the lid back on, and let it sit off the heat. And our beans are still just simmering away. They're not quite done yet. One thing I forgot to mention, when you are soaking your beans, you can add a little bit of salt in there. It'll help soften up the shells. And some people do add, when they're cooking their beans, add a little bit of baking soda in there too. It's totally up to you. So today we got out our big 12-inch cast iron skillet here, and we got it over a fairly high heat right above the firebox there. And we're going to add a bit of extra virgin olive oil. Now, you don't have to use olive oil. You can use avocado oil. You can use tallow. So we're just going to let that heat up. And then we're going to add 1 chopped onion. And we're just going to caramelize our onion down a little bit here. We will be adding 3 to 4 cloves of garlic, but I don't like to add them right at the same time as I do that. Sometimes the garlic may burn a little bit. And burnt garlic don't taste good. So we'll just let them slowly cook down. Okay, so our onions are getting nice and translucent now. We are going to add the garlic in there. So you can add as much garlic as you like. I have about 3 to 4 cloves in there. If you like more garlic, add more garlic. It's totally up to you. And then we'll just let this cook a little bit longer. Then we'll add our mousse. And it might be still a little bit frozen in the middle, so I'm just going to see here. Yeah, I can feel a little bit frozen in the middle still. That's just because I took it out this morning, but it's a cold day here and I had it sitting pretty far away from the wood stove to get warmed up. But that's okay, it will still cook just fine. Right there was the frozen spot. So that's pretty good. We're just going to keep an eye on that, and we're going to brown up all of our mousse burger here. So I'm going to add a bit of pepper here. And some salt. Oops, dropped the salt. Now, if you don't like just straight mousse meat, you can add a pork in here too, ground pork if you like. We like just straight mousse meat, so we're not going to put any pork in here. It's totally up to you. We are cooking this over a high heat right now, just to get everything all nice and browned up. Your browning creates all the beautiful flavors in there. Okay, so our burger, moose burger, is getting browned up quite nicely here. So I am going to add my tomatoes. Just adding a jar of stewed tomatoes here. And I'll cut them up a little bit. And if anyone tells you you cannot add cooked tomatoes in a cast iron skillet, well, if your cast iron skillet is seasoned properly, you can. But if it's not, then I can see why they're having problems. But if it's seasoned well, you will not have any problems with cooking high acid foods in them. I get that asked quite a bit. A lot of people go, oh my goodness, you're putting tomatoes in your cast iron. It won't hurt it. You season it properly. So we'll just add that in there. And then we are going to add some spices here. I have a tablespoon of oregano, of cumin, this is a tablespoon and a half of cumin, parsley flakes, paprika, a teaspoon of salt, and a teaspoon of black pepper. If I had fresh parsley, I would be adding it, but I do not have any right now. So we're just going to add that right into there. And mix it all in well. And then we are going to put in a splash of apple cider vinegar. Just a little bit, not too much. I'd say probably a tablespoon or so of the apple cider vinegar. Then we're going to put a lid on. I don't have a lid big enough, but this will work just fine. And I'm going to put it over to more of a medium heat just to simmer. Okay, I'm adding my black beans there and our rice. Should probably fluff this a bit because it's been sitting here for quite a while. I might not have needed that much rice. Well, we'll add it in anyways. Then we'll just give this a good stir around. Put the lid back on it. Okay, so we have our peppers cut in half and all the seeds and the pith removed from them. We have them in our baking dish, and we're going to add a bit of pepper to them. And then a little bit of salt. And then I'm just going to pop them into a hot oven, so 350, 400 degrees oven for about 15 minutes. And we're just going to roast them a little bit before we add our filling. And while they're roasting, I have a little bit of mozzarella cheese and a little bit of marble cheese that I'm going to grate up. Okay, so I have my bottom door on there opened up, and we got the oven really hot. So we're just going to stick these in here for 15 minutes. Okay, so I'm just taking the peppers out of the oven, and it's just softened them up a little bit, and it makes them much more palatable and easier to cook. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take some of our mozzarella cheese, and just sprinkle on the bottom of each pepper a little bit. And as you can see, I probably got way too much compared to the amount of peppers I got. That's okay, because there's only 2 of us, so I'm not going to make a big pile of them. But what I can do with all this leftover, I can either put it in the fridge and we can have it as in wraps as leftovers, or I can freeze it up and put it in the freezer, then bring it out and we can use it in a whole bunch of different ways. We could do more peppers, we could do more wraps, all kinds of different things like that. So I would say this would be more for a large family serving of it. And I'm just going to push that down in there. I'm going to grab a little spoon here. I am making a mess. I could have done more peppers here, but I think this is all we need for 2 of us for dinner. This will even be too much for 2 of us. But all this other stuff will not get wasted, believe me. Okay, so there's our peppers all stuffed with our mousse mixture. And then all we're going to do is take a little bit of this cheese and put on top. Like so. Then I'm going to stick it back in the oven for about 20 minutes. So halfway through, 10 minutes, I will turn it in my oven so it doesn't burn on one side, because my oven on the stove, one side's hotter than the other. And there we go. They're all done. I'm just going to take one out here and show you. If I can get it out. Ooh, it's hot, 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 hot. I think it's probably going to be too hot to try. But anyways, that's what they look like. Perfectly cooked. The pepper's nice and soft. Cheese is just golden brown. And you can see the crinkles in the peppers here. Oh my God. That is some good. Very, very good. And then here's all the leftovers we got. So here's one big container I will be putting in the freezer. And here's one I'll just put in the fridge, and maybe tomorrow we'll have wraps with it. And the wraps we'll just put cheese, lettuce, maybe some ranch dressing, something like that. And then this one back here, when we go to use it, I can use it to make more stuffed peppers or tacos or wraps or anything that we feel like that night, and it's already done. Easy peasy. If you have any good suggestions to what we could use these leftovers for, let me know and put it down in the comments. Thanks for watching.